unique things that I got, and I'm not knocking any other school. I'll try to say this without saying any other school's names, but I will say this: Texas Southern University is a HBCU. It's one of the largest. It's in a big city, highly sought after city. So you get people from all over the United States and all over the world coming to Texas Southern. So whereas other schools kind of just get people from the area or from that state, you get a lot of people from California, New York, Chicago, Louisiana, Florida, Georgia, Missouri, Kansas. It goes on.
Yep.
And then it goes from South Africa, Jamaica, so on and so forth. That's not normal. And I think that really, a lot of times people tend to view TSU as having a monolithic population. And it's very, very, very diverse.
It's not at all. Yeah.
They send people everywhere, every professional avenue you could think of. And even today, to this day, I get surprised. The people I meet and we find out we're both alumni. And it's just, I appreciate my experience at TSU, and I'll always recommend people to go to school there.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's an amazing school. We do produce amazing students from here. And like you said, it's not a monolith at all. We have people from everywhere. We are in the South and we're the farthest west, so we're right in the middle. We get everyone from everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's a great opportunity to learn in such an urban environment, and just more so because, like every other school, like Baylor is in its own community, a university is the center of the community they serve. And as an HBCU, we're a direct extension of the community we serve. So it's amazing to be right there in the heart of so much history. So, and I know y'all had some amazing experiences there. I'm having amazing experiences here. I love seeing how the students are being successful. And I'm very thankful for y'all today to discuss mentorship and just your experiences of back in the day. Was there any concluding thoughts y'all wanted to kind of leave with as far as?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you for the opportunity.
No,
I was
please
like,
do.
man, I don't know if I have time.
No, please. Of all the time in the world. I paid for the upgraded model for Zoom.
My final thought is just to be comfortable in yourself wherever you go, because it will help you. For one, if you're being comfortable within yourself and not being afraid to be your authentic self in whatever room you show up in, you can't do the work authentically, you know? And so if you're showing up and you're a great representative of yourself, the way we tend to think in this country and just, you know, in this time, is birds of a feather flock together, right? And so if you show up as your authentic Black self, if you show up as your authentic Latino self, if you show up as your authentic any other self, then that's the representation that people have of your people. And you can be the advocate and be the voice and be the person who, I almost hesitate to say speaks on behalf of, but if you're the representation, we know that what you're doing is representative of, and therefore will help your community. So that's something that's really important, especially if we're talking about healthcare, working in healthcare. It's very easy when you're one of few to be in a room and feel like it's okay to be your authentic self. So I know that people need permission sometimes. I'm giving you permission. You walk in that room and you be who you are, and you represent where you're from, and you do that proudly, and you let your work be the representation.
Definitely.
Yeah. One of the very first lessons that Angel gave me. When I would introduce myself, I would say, my name is Jonathan Guajardo. And he's, what? Jonathan Guajardo? What? Jonathan Guajardo. That's my name.
Orale, there you go. No, and that rings so true, Anya. I know I know for myself, my role there at TSU, I'm working with the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion on campus, and it's a relatively new office, 30-year in existence. And we're really trying to create these inclusive spaces and just trying to really promote being your most authentic self, living your truth. We're actually opening up our Pride Center in the fall as well at the Student
Oh,
Center.
nice.
Yeah, so we're doing different, and we're slowly building up these resource centers on campus as well, just trying to build these inclusive spaces. And just for myself, the purpose of ODI for me to kind of really introduce diversity and inclusion is to really build these bridges into the community, because the community is culture. The social justice, the activism, is all based around community and culture. So it's just the best way to kind of introduce all that. So just amen to that, Anya, with living your most authentic self and just being your own true self. So, yeah. What about you, Angel? Jonathan, any parting words?
Well, Angel, do you want to say anything?
Yeah, I have a couple of things I wanted to say. Again, I kind of want to, go back to the idea of service. A lot of people at Texas Southern are the first persons in their family or their social circle who went to college and have a degree and be a professional somewhere. And I think that's important. Whether you're a doctor or a doula, a nurse, a teacher, or a social worker, your charge is to basically help people navigate through systems and find their optimal life. And that's what the skills actually come down to. And a lot of times that comes down to being humble, listening, being empathic, non-judgmental. And a great place to start practicing that would be in college, when you're around a lot of people that are not like you. And I would say learn to have grace, to give grace. And that it crossed my mind. The second piece I want to say is it's cool that you're there at Texas Southern now, because you were one of the first people that kind of gave me grace and allowed me to ask the dumb questions about the LGBTQ stuff. I'm this kid in college, like, okay, what is this? And here you are now, you're doing your thing. That's cool. That's kind of full circle. And that's the work I'm talking about, the good work. So I appreciate you, and I appreciate you for having us.
No, thank you. Thank you. Soon to be Dr. Jonathan Guajardo.
Dang, well, I mean, Anya and Angel really just tied it up real together real nicely. I want to bounce off of what Anya said about being comfortable in your own skin and talk about an experience that I had when I went to Baylor. So I moved into Baylor by myself. My parents had to go to work. I didn't know what college was supposed to look like. I didn't know that your parents were supposed to move you in. So when I drove up, I saw all these, students being moved in with their parents. I felt immediately out of place. Not to mention the fact that I was moving into the honors college, and then I was the only brown person there that I immediately saw. Everybody else that was brown was either Indian or black. And if they were black, there was maybe only 2 individuals. And so I felt really out of place. But what happened wasn't what you think happened. I didn't cower, and I didn't hide that I was Latino. I didn't kind of try to assimilate, as I saw many Hispanics try to do. And in fact, actually, what happened was I accentuated my culture. I didn't used to dress in Dickies and what's it called, a muscle shirt. I didn't used to listen to cumbias and rancheras as often, but I found myself missing my culture, and I started doing it more often. And then I realized, this is me, this is who I was. It just took me to get out of my community to realize that I actually was a part of my community, even though when I was in my community, I wasn't Mexican enough. They made fun of me because I didn't speak Spanish as fluently as they did. They made fun of me because I was going to go to college. And what happened was that, when I would come back from college and I would go see my cousins, I saw that all of a sudden I didn't fit into my family as much either. So it's been kind of I would say a sinusoidal wave of, like, between extremes. I would go to college and I would be different there, and then I would go back to my family, and all of a sudden I was different there, and it kept getting, the extremes kept getting wider and wider as I went to medical school and even now. And I think that now is right now in my third year is when I've kind of actually been able to kind of bring both of my worlds together. I used to have an identity crisis of who I was, where I belonged. And when I went into medical school, I also had this resistance to be a professional, to change the way I spoke, to speak formally, because it wasn't me, you know? But the fact of the matter is that, yeah, it wasn't me, but I can make it part of me. That professional physician is who I was going to be, and I need to show my community that that is who I can be. You know, I don't need to certainly speak a certain way or act a certain way to be part of your community or be part of this community. But rather, I can learn how to code switch, and I can do it within a professional and casual setting, either or. So sometimes I'll speak casually to my parents or my family, but then I'll change into my professional voice, and all of a sudden I realize that they listen more to my professional voice than my casual voice. Whereas a patient, when I'm speaking to them professionally, if I switch to my casual voice and I start putting that inflection in Spanish or in English, they become more receptive all of a sudden. And so what I'm trying to say is, you'll come, anybody who's pursuing a higher education or a professional career might find a point in their time that they're not comfortable in their own skin. And as Anya said, you should be comfortable in your skin, but it's not going to happen immediately. It's going to be a process of trial and error, figuring out when it's appropriate to code switch, when it's not appropriate to code switch, when it's when you need to essentially put not necessarily a mask on because it is who you are, but rather bring out that different persona. And I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm not done at all by any means. And as you encounter new experiences, you'll try to you'll learn about yourself, essentially how you interact in those areas. But at the end of the day, what does matter is that you're happy with who you are, that you understand the communities that you come from, and that while you may not consider yourself a spokesperson for your community, some people will see you as that. Right. And that's the opportunity for you to rise up to the challenge and actually be the spokesperson for your community, because that's when it matters.
Perfect. Well said. Thank you so much. And I look forward to being in your waiting room one day and hearing some cumbia and some Selena.
For sure. I hope that you're not in my waiting room.
I hope not. I've been in too many hospitals recently.
For sure.
But thank you all so much. And everyone follow Esperanza de Tejas. And these are amazing alums here and amazing college graduates doing big things. We're making changes now, and we're inspiring people in the future. So thank you all so much. And again, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.